running a 100-mile race is arguably one of the hardest things you can do. And running it your first time can be a very nerve-wracking event because anything can happen. It's never a given. You plan for months and months, if not longer, to prepare your research, and you do all these things to prepare for this one pinnacle race. Because it usually, for most of us who run ultra marathons, it's the end game. It's, many people go beyond it, but most of us don't go beyond the 100-mile race. And I am fortunate enough to have on someone who I've known online for many years now, the Goku runner, Jeremy.
How's it going?
How's it going? How are you?
I'm good. I just got out for a run and came on here to come on your stream.
I appreciate that. So I've been following your journey for quite a while now. I see that you're running the Rocky Raccoon, right?
Yeah, Rocky Raccoon 100. That's on Saturday. So it's my first 100, and I know you've done a few. So I'm actually was excited to come on this to ask some advice from you because you're. I called you the GOAT the other day, and you're like, who, me?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so we've known each other. This is the first time we've actually ever spoken for many years. Yep. Many years. We've been doing this YouTube thing.
I call us the OG of the running YouTubers because back in the day, there was not too many. There wasn't too many, but now there's a ton of running YouTubers all over the place.
And the pros have started figuring this stuff out.
Yeah.
So, which is making it more difficult, but I'm glad you could carve some time off for me. I'm to talk to you about this because the cornerstone of my channel is really talking people through who want to transfer. This is not an elite channel. We're not helping elites here. We're helping the everyday person kind of show them that ultras are hard, but anybody can do them. I'm not a small runner either. I'm 6 foot 220. When I was really started the channel, I'm usually right around 190, 195, but I know you're also a very powerful man yourself, hefty man.
Yeah, I'm 5'11", 249. I weighed myself today, so I'm under 250 today, but that's probably going to change tomorrow morning.
And 200 of that's muscle from what I could see. So, which distance running and being heavy is difficult. We have trouble with packs. We have trouble with everything. So, in this channel, we like to try to discuss those things and try to problem solve and share our wisdom from failure or success. So first, I'd like to, for those of you people on the channel who may not know you, I'd like to, if you give me a little bit of your running background, and you kind of do it all. You do a lot of lifting, a lot of different things, but kind of your running background up until this point and your channel. What's your channel about?
Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything. Mainly, I run on my channel, Goku Runner, but I also do a little bit of lifting because I love lifting, but I don't love telling that story very much on the channel. I just don't find it interesting to bring a camera to the gym and talk to them, and I can't do the same thing I can do in running. Yeah. But I've been running since probably 2009, just trying to lose weight, which I've never lost any weight running. I've actually gained weight slowly every year.
I feel your pain.
But started walking, and then I ran and got faster, as sub 2 half marathon. 150 was my PR, and then marathon, and I moved on to ultra marathons. And with ultra marathons, you get slower, and sometimes you get faster, but for me, I've tended to get a little slower over time, and I've just enjoyed telling that story and telling everything, from reviews to race videos. That's my favorite things are race videos, really, but for YouTube, to be able to do a little bit of everything to grow.
Yeah, I enjoy those too. I like doing race videos, and that's probably what I'm most recognized from in races in my local area in Virginia. You're down there in Texas, right?
Yeah.
In Virginia, doing the local races, I do a lot of the same races, and people are always thanking me and telling me they saw my video, they saw my race videos, and they use that to research. So I'm sure you probably get a lot of that also around your area.
Yeah, people will be like, "Hey, Goku," I was like, "Oh, yeah." I'm surprised that people know me as that. So whenever people recognize me, especially at races like Rocky Raccoon, I've done that maybe 5 or 6 years. So I'm well known over there. So people watch my videos and they know it. Because like you said, whenever you're going for ultra marathon, you'll want to do some research. And the best way to do it is on YouTube and see the course and all that.
You got folks like us out here making it easy for people. Like when I first got into ultra marathons, back in 2013, 2014, you were having to actually go read race reports and actually read someone's blog and kind of have they're describing the course, and that's actually how I got into it, having to read that. And then I ran that race, and I've run it like 6 times since then. Now I've produced the most videos for that people watch. So it's really a cool thing, what you do. I'm sure many people are very grateful to have that look at the races. So the build up. So, you've progressed up like most. You've gone through the distances. So what's your progression been this year? I know are you on a training block? What are you up to?
Yeah, so this year in Texas is actually like a really, really hot summer, and I kind of lost motivation. And before that, I ran all the way distance to 100K, but I lost motivation and I didn't want to run anymore because it was hot and just didn't want to run.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me sign up for this 100 miler, and maybe that'll give me some motivation, and I finally did it because there's like 10 of us. Well, there was 10 of us at the time doing the race. And I was like, if I'm going to do a 100 miler, it's better to do it with, a big crew around me, a family of my running group. And so I signed up, and that kicked me into gear. That was around September. So I started September, and I went from running for 2 hours in 1 month to running, I think, 24 hours the next month. So
that's how you do it.
Yeah, I moved my mileage up real quick because I was scared, because the 100 miler is a daunting task, and I've never done it, and 62 miles is the farthest I've gone, and that's another 38 miles. So
yeah,
like, I don't know.
Where it starts. That's where it starts. So
yeah, where's the big jump? Why is there not like an 80 miler in between that?
Yeah, that would be good because everybody probably stopped there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I ran my first 100, that like getting to that distance, that known distance is you spend all day getting there. Like, I know what this is like. You're just doing the smart thing all day long just to get to that point. And when you start getting to the overnight part, that's where you start running and feeling like what it's like to run when you're falling asleep and hallucinating, and kind of your body's going through that want to sleep cycle. That's when things get fun. But you'll find that out, and you'll crush it. You'll crush it.
I'm excited to experience the hallucinations. I don't know what's going to happen. The last guy that I paced, he saw purple monkeys on a tree jumping with glow sticks on their necks. So I don't know. Was that
the video released not too long ago where you helped pace?
Yeah, I paced Clark at Brazos Bend. And that's when
he saw. That was. I noticed you were there for almost the whole. You were here for the whole race, right?
I got there a little bit later, but I was there from like 30 miles to 100. So yeah.
Okay, I couldn't tell in the video how long you'd been there. I was like, man, that's dedication there to go to the whole thing, because that's a long time. I've always noticed that for having crew and people that tag along, that I never really thought about what their day looks like. Standing around doing nothing for a long time, and like we're dying in the woods, in our own pity party, and they're having to figure out what to do. My wife did, and some friends did my first ultra back in like 2014, and we're out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing. Yeah. There was fire roads out in the mountains, and I thought about it after. I'm like, man, that was terrible that I had those people. They had their kids. We had my kids and their kids. It was crazy.
But it's like tailgating. You go out there, and if you're not running, you're tailgating. You're just hanging out, waiting for your runner to come by and enjoying it. So
I worked an aid station not too long ago at 100 mile.
I saw it.
And that was a blast. I was like, I could get used to this, like, helping other people. Once you've done it, you kind of know what people want and anticipate that. So that was a lot of fun, and definitely something I want to keep trying to do. So back to the topic here of your race. So you increased your volume, and how's that been on you? Like, increasing the volume? Sometimes that can be difficult, hard on the feet, knees, legs, hips.
Yeah, I was scared that, since I was going from basically no running to 140 miles a month, top mileage was, I think, 160 a month. I thought that I might get injured, because that's what happens when you don't run. You got the 10% rule. I didn't do that at all. I just went from 0 to a 14 miler that first weekend. And I was fine. I think it's all what I did. I did a lot of walking. I just planned run the whole thing. So I took it easy on my body, the low heart rate training, basically, because I was going that slow. And that's my plan for the race too. Walk, run.
Yeah, that's really smart. So that's one of the things I noticed. Obviously we follow each other on Strava too, and when I saw that you were doing this, I check out speeds, things like that. Because if you notice me, I do a lot of the same thing. I'm not out there. I'll have maybe 1 or 2 days a week where I pick things up, but most of my stuff is slow. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, I've been out here power hiking with my wife for a majority of my mileage. We're jogging a little, and it just getting time on my feet. And that's ultimately, I think the most important thing is getting that time on the feet. You did it the smart way. You didn't like, I'm going to try to run 11-minute miles. So I'm going to do sub 24. And a lot of people just start taking off. And you did it very smart. And the run walk thing was perfect. I think what you've done is going to set you up nicely.
Hopefully, I was worried. I was like, should I train at a faster pace or should I just stick with a walk run the whole time? Because I never even ran like 2 miles. I just did walk run, easy miles the whole way. So I don't know if that's hurt me.
I've trained that a lot too. I do that a lot when I'm training because I train specific to how I'm going to race. So, there's never going to be a 100-miler or even a 50-miler where I'm running the entire thing. I go immediately, maybe clearing out the initial, 3 miles, getting around everyone. And then I go into my pacing strategy and I just stick with it. And, I think that's a smart thing to do. So I found out that I started training that way, that it helped me mentally be able to do that because you are spending more time. So, you're getting more time on your feet. The mileage doesn't matter to me. It's always like, how many hours did you spend on your feet this week? That's why I stand at a desk. That's why I stand almost day. That. Yeah. So, and honestly, I think that was a game changer for me. And when I started realizing it's about who can stand on their feet the longest. And I've seen great success with that. So I think you've done a great thing there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. As long as you don't try to break your 50K record.
No, nothing like that. People go out for I know there's a lot of like first timers that they hear the 24 hours is just like a 13:30 pace, whatever it is. Like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. I'm going to break that. That's their goal. I was like, man, my goal is just 30. It's 32 hours. I want to finish in 31:59. I'll be happy with that.
That'll be good.
Extraordinary goals. Although I do kind of want to finish sub 30, but I just to get in that Western States, that ticket. In the lottery, but
I think you can do it. I think you could do it as long as you stick to your and we'll go over that. If you stick to your pacing strategy, and it's really all about nutrition and hydration from the very beginning. So pacing plan. What is going to be your pace plan now that we talked about that? Like, what are you looking to try to do? I mean, I know you mentioned what your final goal is, but do you have like, I'm going to run for 2 minutes, walk for 5, or what are you going to do?
My pacing strategy is 1:45 of walking and 30 seconds of running. So 1:45 running and 30 seconds of running. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got it.
You're going to have some awesome trail math with that, unless you have your watch set up to do that for you.
No, I have a little timer. So I got my timer separate, and it's just set to that. And I'm going to stick to that. I
tried that one time, man, and I about wanted to throw my watch away. Because after many hours, you're like, I'm tired of being told what to do. And, especially in Virginia, it's not flat here. So the terrain dictates your pace a lot. So a lot of times when it's saying you need to run, I'm like, I can't run. This is like a 7% grade. I'm not going to run up this thing. So what I did is I think I would, like something like in the Yeti 100, I was just sticking to like, run 2 to 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and then walk 7. And it was keeping the numbers round for me. So it helped me keep on pace. And I did that for the entire time without fail. And like, it was awesome to be able to do that. So I know personally struggling with the trail math was really difficult for me. You're just trying to figure out like, okay, if I say this pace, and then you start then like, I don't think I'm going to make it. You're
that's
fine.
The worst, especially during ultra. And then you start, the anxiety comes up. You're like, I don't know. Can I do it?
Yeah, exactly. I don't get as smart as the day goes on. So nutrition, this is a big thing in ultra. So I think this is where I think most people fail. I mean, this is where they cause their day to go south. It's nutrition and hydration, but specifically nutrition. I think most people underestimate how many calories you burn, and they overestimate what they're taking in. And so what's your plan? You're a bigger guy. I'm a bigger guy. I burn a lot of calories, but I also have to deal with not being able to process as many calories as I need. So what's your plan?
Well, if you've ever watched my channel, I like to take advantage of the aid stations. Pretty good.
Same.
But I also have I forget what it's called. It's the applesauce version. You know that goo.
Yeah.
A lot of ultra runners use it, but it's like $5 a freaking pack. I just bought some. I bought 10 of them. So
Yeah,
expensive.
of course, because it's for runners. But if you go buy the baby apple, I've been doing the baby applesauce and stuff for years.
So yeah, it's almost the same color. So I'm mixing that and that. I have some. I forget what. Anyway, I'm gonna be using that for my nutrition. About every 2 miles, I'll eat. What do you think about that? Like every 2 miles, is that pretty good?
It just depends on how many calories. I mean, I was taking in about every 30 to 45 minutes, about 120 calories to 200 calories. So I tried to take in a goo, and that would get thrown off when I go through an aid station. Cause like you said, when I go through an aid station, I kind of eat to like how I feel, like I need carbs, I need fat. At some points I was like, of course I want a spicy fried Oreo with bacon wrapped around it. Like I've never eaten that in my life, but I always tell people don't eat new things, but there's just sometimes you take risks. I'm like, they wouldn't put it on the table if it was going to be.
Yeah.
I get all the rules go up.
You would never eat that in normal life, but like ramen and like fake mashed potatoes on it.
Broth, man. I would swear to you during a race that I will eat nothing but broth for the rest of my life. It is so good, especially at night. But I stick to peanut butter and jellies, quesadillas. And pierogies, things like that, pastas and things like that. So, getting all those carbs in and getting some sodium down. So, this last 100 I did, like, that's what it was for me. I was like, I am going to, without fail, whether I feel like I need to or not, take in calories consistently. And I finished that race. The last 15 miles felt like the first 15. And I promise you, it doesn't come across because I'm still working on the video. I got to do the video, but the guy I was running with, Joe, who I've been, he was struggling real hard with the bottoms of his feet. But I mean, I probably could have finished an hour and a half earlier, but I was running up ahead, coming back, waiting on them because he was just struggling. He was in kind of the super bad pain cave. But man, I came out of the night and took a 5-hour energy, ate some food, and absolutely felt fresh. And I contribute that to eating. I just stayed on top of it. I didn't eat too much, but I ate enough to keep myself in the game. And
So did you set that on your watch, or you just mentally knew?
I just look at my watch. Look at my watch. So I tried to basically make sure that every 45 minutes to an hour, I was taking in at least 200 calories minimum.
Okay.
I didn't want to overeat because then you start having gastrointestinal issues and stuff like that. So going through the aid stations, whereas I'm like, I've tried to simplify over the years, and just going through the aid station, just filling up with everything they have there, taking stuff, put in the Ziploc and put it in my pocket and eating half mile down the road. And so I think most people should take advantage of the aid stations unless they have some sort of dietary needs that they can't. But those aid stations are there for a reason. You're paying for it. And I see people show up with this way too much stuff now, and people are bringing their own stuff they made. And I know people eat what they're used to having, but that you can eat peanut butter and jelly. That's why I eat peanut butter and jelly, quesadillas, and pierogies and things like that. And I think you're pretty safe.
I practice eating like crap all throughout the year. That way I can eat all the stuff.
That's my problem. That's why I'm not 195 like I was when I started this channel.
Exactly.
Because I practice eating like that. That's a good way to put it. I practice year round, just like you. So an integral part of doing 100-mile is the support around you, but not be the aid station workers, pacers and things like that. You mentioned having a family and friends around. Are you going to have pacers and crew?
Yeah, we're going to have a big crew because we have eight people running the race. So I think 6 people running the 100-miler, 2 people running the 100K. So there'll be their family and crew with them and pacers. And then I'm going to have my girlfriend, Anna, my friend, Tony, who's running the 100-miler. He's going to pace me as well. And also I might as well, we can have a pacer at 50 miles. So I'm going to get one. Also my other brother, William, he's going to pace me too. So we'll have a good crew out there to help me to change my socks and do everything.
That is awesome. And talk you back out on another loop, because this is an interloopal race, right? It's 5 20-mile laps.
Yeah, 5 20-mile loops. And it's good for me because I get to see them, but that's a lot of loops.
Yeah, that's a long loop, and they're gonna have aid stations along that loop, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So that's definitely gonna help, but that will give you something to look forward to. That's not every 5 miles or 8 miles like a lot of these races are. you gotta wait unless they go to H1. Are they gonna just post up at the main, or are they gonna follow you around in circles?
The only two that are really accessible, there's only two that are the main one, and then there's another one like mid race that they can go to. The other ones are kind of a hike that they probably won't go.
So it gives you something to look forward to. So that's a big chunk to finish 20, 40, 80. That's awesome. That's going to be fun. And I read that it's about 1,250 elevation gain feet of elevation gain per lap.
Yeah.
So it's relatively flat, but there's some
maybe 6,000 total. So yeah, it's usually either up or down. So it's not really, I mean, probably flat to someone like you, but for me that I live Southeast Texas, there's always a little bit of elevation.
That's actually good. It's good. That's actually good because it's going to help you mix up those muscle groups.
Yeah, you know? I have two options. I could have done Brazos Bend as a 100-miler, and that's literally just flat the whole way. And my hips don't like flat the whole way, so that's why I chose Rocky Raccoon as mine, because I wanted some elevation. I wanted to change up some muscle groups, like you said.
Yeah, I've always cracked up watching you over the years when you're like, I have to go get some climbing in, and you're in parking garages.
Yeah, parking garages and bridges. That's all we can get over here.
Yeah. That's what it is in Florida. When I go down to my mom's and I have to train, I have to just run. My mom lives in Daytona Beach, and there's just nothing but bridges. So I just will go on a long run and run across all the bridges to get the elevation in. So I feel you there, because that flat. People are like, why don't you go run on the beach? I'm like, running on the beach is the worst thing in the world. Running on
it sounds nice. Exactly. It sounds nice. I was like, oh, I'm gonna run on the beach. I was in like Pensacola or wherever, and I tried to run on the beach. It was like the angle and you can't soft sand. It was horrible.
Yeah. It sounds nice. It's definitely not something that I would want to do. And if people run ultras on that, I'm like, those people are crazy.
Baywatch made it sound a lot better than what it is, right?
I mean, maybe there are some beaches that are flatter, but none of the beaches I go to are flat like that. So I saw what you posted about weather. I know that's the one thing that stresses us all out when we're in these ultras, especially in a 100-miler, because you're just out there for so long. And you know what happened to me 2 years ago in the Yeti 100 when the hurricane came, and you know we're on a mountain and it's 39 degrees and it's absolutely just a monsoon, and everyone's getting hypothermic and 50% of the kid drops. So what's the temperature going to be like? I mean, rain you can deal with. You just got to deal with blisters and stuff.
I think when it is raining, it'll be 60s, but then after the rain, it'll drop to 50. So that's good. I feel like that's warm enough where, I mean, it's still gonna be kind of miserable, but it's not 30, 40 degrees, which would be horrible. I don't know how y'all did it.
Yeah, it was extremely tough. It was dangerous in a lot of areas. But you know, rain is tough to get through when you're just wet for a long time. So what's your plan there with like tons of extra clothes? You have a good shell. Are you just gonna power through it?
Have a jacket. I don't know how well that'll work, you know, running with it. And I have these socks. So my friend Tony he bought these on Amazon. They're waterproof socks, and I ran with them tonight. And they actually work pretty well. Like my feet weren't soaked in them like a glove. So I like them. So these actually gave me a little bit more of a boost running tonight in them, because I know if they're going to work for my 3-miler, they might work for my 100-miler. But in terms of like a jacket, I don't know. I might just go shirtless if it's that horrible. I don't know.
Yeah, man, 50 and 60 is still cold though. With it raining. I mean, it's cold enough with rain on you. So,
what did you do?
I went to REI and bought like a $79 raincoat because I didn't have like a really good. I just knew there was a potential to be a really bad storm. So I was like, well, I don't have a really good shell, like a waterproof. I have running jackets. And, you know, but things that would just be soaked immediately. And typically when I run, I just go through it. I don't care about getting wet but it's the difference between being out there for 8 hours and, 29, it's a huge difference and overnight. So I just bought that raincoat and put that on and just went after it. Everything was soaked anyways. But I mean, the only thing you worry about with the rain, especially if it's warmer, is not really hypothermia in those temperatures, but just the wet feet. And changing the socks out and drying your feet out and making sure you don't get the blisters. Because even on a good day, which I had this last year in 100, my feet were absolute toast.
That's what scares me the most: the blisters and the chafing that's going to come with all the wetness and dampness that we're going to experience. I bought some Gore-Tex shoes. I've been buying so much like rain stuff just to because I'm so scared. I'm scared of this weather. So I bought some Gore-Tex shoes and I stood in the shower with them, and then within 30 seconds my feet were wet anyway. So I was like, I don't know.
That stuff doesn't work. The Gore-Tex shoes and things like that, you're going to get wet, and I think it's just how you deal with it. Making sure that you take care of things before they become a problem, changing socks out. And sometimes it's raining so hard, like in the race I was in that last 100 or 200s ago, there was nothing you could do. You would change into new clothes and they would immediately be soaked again. But it's just about management.
Lather your feet in like diaper rash stuff. That's what somebody told me to do.
I use the nut butter and Body Glide and stuff like that is typically I put it under my arms like you. I got big sides and I got to do all that, everything that touches from my pack. You were showing me that. I was watching your video on the pack and the shoes and you're like, should I wear these shoes? I'm like, please don't wear new shoes like you've never worn before.
I think everybody in the comments
you might lose feet, you might lose your whole toe.
Yeah, there's so much it's cool that the community is like really coming out and sending me DMs and telling me give me their advice. I'm like, it's awesome. I have so much input to get from everybody, even you. So I'm happy you reached out.
No, yeah, man. I love to see this type of thing, and I'm happy for you, and I'm excited, and I think you'll do fine. But definitely the wisdom that other people have learned from is something good to listen to. But at the end of the day, when it comes to 100-miler, you've run 100K. You know what that's like. It's just putting in the time, one foot in front of the other to get there. And it's, I learned this last one that, once I got there, that's when I finally was like, all right, now the race is starting. Because I was so antsy. I didn't care. I didn't care about anything up until that point. Once I got to like the top of the mountain at mile 66 and we're coming back to do 33 more miles back across, it was an out and back 3 times. So that's when the race started, and it was at night and battling overnight, which I've done in 24-hour races before. That was the biggest thing, is just staying upright, moving forward. As long as you stick to your plan, and I think you have a good plan, as long as your nutrition and hydration's there, the wet's going to give you some problems, but you're just going to have to fight through that and manage it as best you can.
I think by 8 p.m. that night, the rain will stop and I can change to dry clothing, and
that's good.
I won't be like drenched the whole time. So that's a good thing. I'm also laying off of caffeine. So I'm waiting for, hopefully that affects me, because I'm a big coffee drinker. I'll drink like 3 or 4 cups in the morning, and caffeine won't affect me. So I'm trying to.
You're on top of it, man. You're on top of it. That was my plan. I'm a big coffee drinker every day. I did not have coffee that morning. So it was a little rough, but once the sun came, the race started and you're eating and you're moving, I was fine. So I didn't have any caffeine. I was like, because when I need caffeine, I want it to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And so the hardest part was kind of that. I knew that, the mile 75 was going to be the battle to finish. I mean, because you're still 25 miles, and that's a long run. I mean, I don't think any of us would say my 25 is easy, especially after running 75. I waited and I had a 5-hour energy drink. I'd never done that in a race before. Mm-hmm. I took one of those little shots, little 5-hour energy. I took that. And I tell you, I'd never felt better in a race in my life. It was crazy, but I didn't take in caffeine the rest of the time. There might've been some caffeine that slipped in through a gel here and there that I wasn't paying attention to, but nothing significant. So,
all right, 5-hour energy in my pack. That's going.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that's like the beer after. You need the 5-hour energy when as the sun comes up.
So what did you do when things got real tough for you? Like, I'm sure every 100-miler has that point, right? Like, is there a point that, like, to keep on going, or was there a point where you ever really thought about quitting? Because I'm sure that crosses your mind a million times during a 100-miler, right?
Yeah, you're constantly doing, when you're in your own head. This last time in the Yeti, I didn't have too much of that, but there was some times where you start talking. You're like, you know what? Nobody even cares if I finish. No one would care. I could stop now and I could tell somebody I ran 70 miles and nobody would care. I just focused real hard on what was my why, what is my goal, like what have we been training for? I have the pressure of, just like you do, of channel. So I come and talk about all this stuff. And so I know that I have that kind of accountability. I don't want to come back and be like, I quit again. I don't want to, I didn't want to do that because I knew that it was going to pass. I knew that all the feelings that I was feeling, it was going to pass because nothing was hurt. So, and even your body was like, your mind will start saying, something's wrong. You should quit. You're going to die. Like, you just need to shut up, brain, and keep moving. The hardest part really for me in this last race was the boredom that was kind of taking over certain spots where you're just like, I'm tired of running. I just want to get to the next part. Like that was tough. And the overnight. So I was running down a mountain in the dark, falling asleep. I had my poles out and I was just running. And there was times where I felt like I fell asleep for like 3 or 4 seconds, and you start to kind of fall a little bit. So it was actually quite funny. Joe and I were talking about the things that we were seeing. I kept looking over at like rock formations going, that would look so comfortable. That'd be so comfortable to go lay on. You just want to lay down. That was over the night. I mean, it's like 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, like that time period. I'm like, I would do anything just to lay down on the ground, on the trail. Like, I wouldn't have even cared. So, and then after that, I think counting off the miles at the end was how I kept my brain occupied. I had 2 people that were in the pain cave hard. And so I was the one that was feeling great and moving. So I was counting the miles off and making sure I'm doing the math, reassuring them, making sure they understood you're going to make it. You're going to make, because they were like doing, oh no, we're not going to make it. I'm like, no, you're going to make it. I've done the math. And that's why I just keeping my mind occupied, with my dumb trail math in my brain was helping me get through the hard parts. So, games, Joe brought along, I think he would bring along somebody who would have like, what's your favorite band and name your top 5 albums, and just stuff to keep your mind occupied kind of helped this last race. Just, it's a long time. You're going to get to know people and their life stories, but you can find stuff to pass time is always really good.
I'm excited. I'm excited to experience all of that, and just ready to experience, as I know I'm going to be in pain. Like I watched the 100 miles. I've seen 100-mile videos, and I don't think anybody goes through it and they're not in pain. So I'm ready to fight my brain to keep moving forward. The relentless forward progress. That's all I want to do.
Keep putting one foot in front. Forward is a pace. Forward is a pace. That's what we always say. Just keep moving forward. You're going to be fine, man. I'm actually looking forward to this. Not to put any more pressure on you, but I think if you're just smart from the get-go with all your stuff, and you'll be fine. Yeah.
Plus all the recording I have to do. I don't know. The good thing is I have an Insta360 camera, which is the easiest to record rather than a GoPro, because I just have to stick it in front of me and talk. I don't have to focus on the angles, whatever,
Yeah, that's one thing I get questions about a lot. Like, how do you deal with recording? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just used to it now. There have been races where I felt bad enough where I didn't want to record, or I just start forgetting because I'm in my own world. Got poopy pants, pity party, and I don't want to record. But a lot of times I'm like, well, this is what people want to see. They want to see. I try to be as transparent. Like, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. So this last race I did record it again. I got to get that put together. I got
that's been a while, right? How long has that been?
That was September, so I got to record myself in it. I got to do some post stuff and shaved off my beard, so I think I need to shave my beard. I need to grow my beard back again real quick so there's continuity in the footage.
Clean shaven. I'm growing my ultra beard, so it's
you gotta have it.
Best I can do. It's not a John beard.
Mine's very distinctive. I get a lot of people asking me today, why did you shave your beard off? Which I don't know what that means. It doesn't feel good. I'm like, because I was tired of it for a little while. One question for you. Did you start a racing company with your brother doing races? Are you still doing that?
Yeah. We started the Three Bros running company. It's Three Bros running company. We started that. We're about to acquire some big races too over in Houston. So that's the next thing we're working on. But it's been a fun progress. And it's not you can see how much work goes on to putting on a race when you put on a race. If you just don't show up and it's like, oh, magically everything appears. It's months of work. And that's what we've been doing. All the races have been successful, and they've been growing, reaching bigger numbers each time. So that's our whole plan. And I'm telling a lot of stories through YouTube. That's the main way we're marketing is through social media. And since I have a YouTube channel, I know how to do all of that. So that's what we're
fantastic, man. I saw all that and I was like, that's awesome, because that's always been kind of one of my mini goals of all the things I want to do is to have more of like a trail race, to have a trail race to put on, not to really start up a whole bunch, but just pick one because I just want to give back to the community, and I have ideas of what I think would be cool for a trail race or an ultra and things like that. So, I'd like to, maybe we could chat sometime about how you've navigated some of that stuff. I do have some friends here that are race directors that I need to, as much information as I can get about how to kind of navigate those waters. I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. You have my number now, or Instagram.
Yeah,
where we're
I can
at.
reach out. Yeah, I need to give you my phone number so you can text each other. It'd be easier. Well, that's all I had for you. I really I'm super excited for you. Your social medias, you're just the Goku runner on all of it, right?
Yeah, Goku runner on everything. So you just follow me. Instagram and YouTube's my biggest ones. TikTok not so much, but those are the two big ones.
I'm on TikTok, but I just post the regurgitated shorts from YouTube on everything else. So I don't have enough time or energy to promote on everything. So I need to get better at Instagram though. That's the one thing I think I've lacked on, but you've done a good job of that. So, that's awesome.
Yeah. Trying to grow like you. Your child is getting huge now. I'm trying to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's caught on here and there. It's been a lot of trial and error. That I was a family vlogger. I was a running, and then it switched to family vlogging for years, and then kind of muddied the waters there. And I've created over 1,000 videos, so it's been a learning journey, and I really do enjoy this. So I'm glad to see you're one of the few people that I've known most of the time I've been doing this that are still doing it. So everyone's kind of fallen off and giving up.
Like we said, Ginger Runner was like our guy that we follow now. He doesn't really create too much stuff anymore. I think he still has some lives in every once in a while. I think
so too, but they've probably parlayed some of that stuff into other business ventures.
Yeah, that's true. He's making actual content for business for different brands.
Yeah. This is a hard road to be full time if you're doing this full time. So you got to find some other ways to monetize it. So
you got to love it. I know you love it. I love it. I love doing it and love the community.
I love it. Yeah, I want to spin this into coaching and helping people. I've been certified for a couple of years, and it's just a matter. I formed an LLC, and eventually this is going to turn into more of helping, coach, obviously non-elites. It's more about coaching people that are looking, novice runners or people who are looking to cross over from, road running into maybe trail running and ultras and things like that. And it's helping people, bridge those gaps. So I love doing this. And, I really appreciate you spending some time on here with me. I know if I were you, this is when my nerves start to pick up and I'm packing, I'm going through my packing list. That's why I was even hesitant to reach out to you. I'm like, oh man, I know he's probably frantic and doesn't have a lot of time. And I didn't want to push this off another day or two because I know you'd be right dead square in the middle of packing and preparing for everything. So, I appreciate that. I appreciate your time here, and I look forward to talking to you again after this.
Okay. Yeah. Deal.
And I want to do a live stream.
All right. We'll do a live stream. I'll tell you.
That way people can ask you questions.
Hopefully I'll have a buckle to show you guys.
You will. You're going to have a buckle. It's not when, it's not if, it's when. When you get that buckle, just keep going. And if you
now I have to. Now I have to finish.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. That's what you need.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, it's really good talking to you, and we'll see you after the race.
All right.